This excerpt was taken from the Full and Bloom interview with BulletBoys guitarist Mick Sweda. You can listen to the entire interview at fullandbloom.com. What was he like to work with?
As someone to work with, certainly he, at that point, had a great voice and he could sing virtually anything. But, stylistically, we were very different. I have a different approach to, lyrical content, and I have a work ethic that is very different from a lot of people. I'm willing to put in the hours and do the work that's necessary. And, that was critical to this band getting where it got, because not everybody has that kind of, desire to put in the time and effort. So, without going into too much detail, we were just very different people, and that we got as far as we did, I like to think, is, in spite of him.
Did he write all the lyrics?
No, he actually wrote very few lyrics. Most of his ideas had to be finished to a large degree by myself.
So then when you say lyrics, then what was I thought you said something about him writing lyrics that you didn't like or whatever. It was just the fact that, you guys wrote stuff like Smooth Up In Ya and Hard as a Rock. What were you guys trying to say?
Well, don't misunderstand. The idea of that kind of song, we certainly were on the same page, we were just a raucous, rock and roll band, and, we made no bones about, writing those kinds of songs, although people like to think that that's all we ever did. I think if you look deeper into our lyrics, you'll realize that's a fallacy. But I'm just saying from the point of view of a particular line or staying with a train of thought, we were very different in that regard, and in terms of, the actual lyric writing, most of that was, let me just say that, he had some ideas, and sometimes those ideas had to be finished or amended.
How did Mark's voice hold up on tour?
Well, it held up, but you could definitely see that he wasn't taking care of it. And, by the time we got into the studio to do our second record, the producer himself said, I don't have the racehorse I had on the first album. And he didn't want to make our second record. He didn't feel like his voice was strong enough to do it. And if you listen to it, you can definitely hear the difference.
I can still remember when I was young, and I think it was somewhere around there, and he's out there smoking weed at the basement. And I grew up in Dallas. To me, as far as singing and pot, I know some people, Paul McCartney said it opened up his voice, but always fucked my voice. And I would think that that would have some kind of effect on it.
It definitely did. He smoked cigarettes at the same time.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah, he did not take care of his voice, and it was very evident as the shows and the tours and the dates piled on. It was very evident that he was struggling, and certainly, as you would expect, by the time we got off the road, 386 days, he ended up having nodes on his vocal cords, and he had to have them surgically removed. So that pretty much sucked up, any momentum we had from the first record.
How long do you take off after that? That's like a long time to recover, isn't it?
Yeah, like 9 months, yeah.
Wow. And so from there, after he recovers, is he taking care of his voice, or does he go right back to smoking cigarettes and all that?
I don't think it had any, I don't think that had any positive effect on him at all.
Oh, okay.
He was pretty much right back to, where he is today. I think he's still doing all that.
What was he like in the studio on that first album?
I can't really even say, because we just kind of as a band went in and did our tracks, and then Ted worked with him privately on the vocals.
I gotcha.
So we
didn't really participate in that.
Why. You can't really have four different people barking at you as you're trying to produce important vocals. But as far as I know, he was as professional as he could be,
How did Mark retain ownership of the BulletBoys name?
Well, By the time 1993 came around and our third record was out and we were promoting it and trying to get some legs under it, we did a show at the Palace and we were sound checking. And I remember that he was late, obviously, as usual, and we're standing around. And when he finally gets there, he starts going off and berating like all the other successful bands like Warrant, Skid Row, and I'm looking out and I'm seeing bands in the audience that are just waiting for sound check. And meanwhile, this he's like proselytizing and going off on and
into the mic.
You know, it was oh yeah, that was his sound check, right? Just going off on all these other bands and just bitching basically. And I remember thinking, okay, that's it for me. I gathered everybody upstairs. I said, this is it. I'm done. I'll see this record through. I'll promote it. Hopefully it'll do well, but I'm not making any more records with this guy. That was the straw that broke this camel's back. And so, you know, we went out and did dates, and he ended up making a call to Warner Brothers and got the red button pushed on our record. And so it was over in a heartbeat. Everything just sort of fell apart. And
what do you mean?
You know,
he calls Warner Brothers and gets them to kill the record?
Yeah. He made a call, and he thought he had a friend there, and obviously the friend's going to do what's best for the record company. So, you know, the single got killed.
But what good is that? What good is that? I don't even understand the thinking. What good is that going to do? He just wanted to get everybody out of the band, or what?
Welcome to my world, brother. Welcome to basically, you know, from day one of that band till that day, that stuff went on almost endlessly. It was, and the way I say it is like it was just basically damage control from day one for everybody. You know, something was always going on that we had to, you know, try to fix or mend fences or, I mean, and that was just like normal. But try to explain it, no, you won't even begin. But anyway, that was it. And so basically I just wanted to distance myself as much as I could. And we sat down in a meeting. I said, look, I just want my gear, just want my amps and guitars. You take the name, just continue on however you want to do it. I just want to get away. And Jimmy pretty much joined me in that.